when doing a Hackintosh, there's only a few things you need to do in your BIOS. First, you got to get into your BIOS. If you don't know how to do that, then forget about it. Get into your BIOS, go to your integrated peripherals, set your ICH SATA control mode to AHCI. There's a couple here different options available, but that's the one that Apple recognizes. And then you're just going to go down to the onboard IDE control mode. Again, set that to AHCI. And I think that's pretty much it. And then on the power management, you're going to do the same thing, the ACPI suspend mode, set that to S3 STR, and from there that's pretty much it. F10, save your BIOS, and reboot. Now put your EFI Empire boot CD in, wait for it to do its thing, and then it's going to come to a pop-up screen. It's almost done already. Here, when the pop-up screen comes on, eject your CD. Put your Apple Mac OS, which you can get for $30 at Best Buy. That's the OSX, whatever the current version is. Press F5. Wait a few seconds. After you're done waiting, the screen here will pop up. By default, it's usually right to the CD. You can see the Mac OS. Well, I don't know how well you can see it on the camera here, but it says what it is, the Mac CD. Press enter and wait a long time, about 2 minutes to 20 minutes depending on the system you have. You're going to see a bunch of lines on your screen, but that's okay. You might even see error codes, but this Empire CD is just doing its job. Nothing to be afraid of. And when you get to the screen here, go to Utilities, select your disk utility, wait for it to load. Sometimes it takes a minute. Select the hard drive you want to format, which in mine is this one here, but that ain't going to apply to you. Select the option on the top bar here, partition. Now here I want 2 partitions, one for an operating system and one for data. So I'm going to select the top one here, go into options. I'm going to select the guide, or I don't know how to pronounce that, GUID partition table. That's the only way it'll work. Click OK. I created a name for it so I can find it easily, Mac OSX. I'm giving it a size of 150 gigs rather than 1.5 terabytes. And now I click apply and partition. I'm not worried about the second part, partition, because that's for my Windows. This is a Hackintosh and I'm not familiar really with the Mac OS, so I'm going to leave it Windows based, which probably for the better considering it says a PC. Now exit out of the disk utility, click continue, agree to the terms, the one without the exclamation point, click install, and it's going to be about 20 minutes to an hour. Just walk away, do something else, and when you come back it'll be asking you a bunch of questions again. Now you get a screen like this if everything went through the way it's supposed to go through. Okay, you restart your computer. Once again, you're going to use the EFI boot CD. You got to go through this bunch of line process here and just let it do its thing. rebooting it. Make sure you remember to swap your EFI CD out. I made a mistake and forgot to. I got a little scared, but that's okay. I rebooted and stuck it back in there. Now everything's good. And in a few seconds here, you're going to get the screen. It might take a little longer than normal to do the startup routine because it's redetecting some of the drives. But it should, no problem. Just select the Apple Mac OSX, which is the way I labeled it. I could have labeled it, you know, these nuts for all that matter, but obviously that's the one. Press enter, and then you're gonna let it do its thing again, and then you're gonna have to run this program called My Hack in there to get all your basic programs, the kernels, and stuff that I really don't know how to explain very easily. But instead of making it hard, this makes it easy and does all the work for you, so everything will work. Well, here's the screen that it boots into. Pretty much the same like you would with Windows. You're going to have to select where you are, click continue. Obviously, the US keyboard. Do not transfer information. I don't have an Apple ID, so I'm going to continue. It's going to ask you for information, and it's not really all that important. I don't think you have to fill any of this out. Nope, I just put a name. I didn't even fill anything else out. Just create yourself a password. I don't need a hint because it's a unified password to everything that I don't care about. It's all basic stuff. Really, this is wasting your time and showing you how to do this, but I'm going to anyway. You select the time zone, go, and now it should prepare your desktop, which should take a few minutes. Alright, I made a small mistake here on the video. I say my first and only real mistake, other than the long pauses. There was a bunch of windows that popped up. One asked me what I wanted to do with the extra partition on my hard drive. I selected decide later. I can't show you now, it's too late, because I'm in my discovering mode, because I don't really know what's to do after here. My first time ever with any experience with Hackintosh, ever. I mean, once in a school, so that's it. So from there, I'm going to go into the Empire. I'm going to go ahead and click on the folder named Extra. Then I'm going to click on the folder called Post Installation, and then I'm going to select the My Hack installer, which installs all these small programs that allow the Hackintosh to work properly with your OS. And you just continue, just go down the list, continue, agree. It's pretty much, yeah, if you don't agree, you ain't gonna be able to install it. And install and let it do its thing. Enter your password and that's it. Should be going now. Close out all these other windows, and in about 3 minutes everything should be good to go. I hope this video helps you out. This is probably the fastest one. I'm telling you, I've watched a lot of these to try to figure it out, and I had to gather a lot of information. Now I'll include the links in my description, and my motherboard specs. I know that you can vary around from that with this CD, and the procedure should be pretty much similar, be it that you use a Gigabyte motherboard, because the BIOS is going to be different if you use another brand of motherboard. But the options that I told you is still apply. All knowledge is applied. It's basically what I've done is I just applied the knowledge from all the information I've grabbed from various people throughout the internet here, and I'm putting it in a small video to help others on the online community. That's how we get better. Knowledge is power. Alright, my hack is done. want to eject your Empire EFI CD because you don't want it in this time. The Apple Updater Ram, I don't know how this is going to work, but from what I've read, it should update fine. So I'm going to install the updates and restart. Again, if you have a gray screen, you have to agree. Typing your password that you created. Oops. Well, I'm trying to hold the camera. I had a box used as a tripod. So, gotta restart, and there it is. Alright, this is your boot load time. You can speed it up a little teeny bit by pressing enter rather than letting it wait as 5 seconds. Or 18 seconds. Once again, you can press enter, and then that'll speed up a little bit at a time. Boot load time is going to be approximately 50 seconds with my machine, and that's not overclocked. I have everything off for the moment. 44 seconds. I have a blank partition. I'm going to decide later. Well, that's it. That's pretty much how you do the Hackintosh. The updates were successful. The error I made with the keyboard thing wasn't that big a deal. I had 3 keyboards attached to my computer, and apparently it was recognizing this one, which is a wireless one. I got a CompUSA for $100. Bluetooth wireless or something like that. You just plug it in, it works. There's no actual configuration. It's kind of not really part of the video, but it was one of my errors I made in the video. I hope this helps anyone trying to figure out how to do the Hackintosh. If you have any issues, send me an email and I'll try to help in any way I can. It may take me a few days to respond because I don't always check my Yahoo mail. I mean, Google, Gmail, whatever you call it.